it been now that you've been exposing Scientology? By the way, I wrote a paper on Scientology when I was going to University of California, Berkeley.
Did you?
It was over 30 pages. I think they still might use it as a sample because it was like, I just wrote it really well.
And why? Why did you choose that?
I was so interested I just didn't understand why people were joining it. And I was reading up about you because I've been watching your show, how you actually joined not because you were, you know, in Hollywood in this world, which is what a lot of people assume.
Right.
You actually were part of it at a young age.
Yes, yes. And that is true for most Scientologists, as they were brought into it by their parents. So they didn't have a choice. Yeah, and so and then as you get older and you get more and more indoctrinated into Scientology, there's really no way out in a way that you could leave your life the way it was. You can't just know your mother or know your father, know your own child. Like, you have to, there's policies that say you cannot talk to your son or daughter if they're publicly speaking out against the abusive practices of Scientology.
Were you worried about that with your family?
No, because I had my family before I left. My family was very rare in that it stuck together. We stuck together.
What a blessing.
Complete blessing. Complete blessing. That's why I feel honored to be able to tell the stories of those who don't have this platform, don't have this kind of protection. Once our cameras stop rolling, their lives go on. Their lives are damaged, and they have PIs coming after them, and they have Scientologists trying to get them fired at their jobs and trying to destroy their like calling their clients and saying this person's under investigation.
So sad.
Well, this is what they do. This is what they do.
Are you scared at all, Leah? I'm not gonna lie to you. When I first saw season 1 and when I saw the trailers, I was like, I'm worried.
Right.
I'm concerned that this is gonna go a different place because exposing them is very, it's dangerous.
Well, it could be dangerous in that I'm in a business that doesn't maybe have, some real courage to stand up to them. And yes, there are some repercussions to my career. There are repercussions to our advertisers not advertising. And so they have done that kind of damage, but at this point in my life, I'm getting older. I'm just getting to a point where if this business doesn't want me or doesn't want to stand up for the victims of Scientology and cults like it, it's not just Scientology, then that's what it's going to be.
Right.
That's what it's going to be. And there's nothing I could do about people having no courage. And I'm finding that it's not just connected to Scientology. As I get older and I'm starting to really, I say, I'm in the free world because if you've ever been in prison or know anybody who's been in prison, that's what they call this world. I liken this kind of mentality of being in a cult. It could be any extreme views. I'm finding now that I'm in the free world, there's much more than I had ever anticipated.
Wow. For season 3, congratulations.
Thank you.
Did you think your show was going to be this successful? I felt like it always was.
No, I don't think anything I'm ever doing is going to be successful, as with my book. I was like, is anybody interested? Does anybody care? Because I had a fear that people might have that idea that maybe we deserve what's happening and that they wouldn't care. Like, you brought that on yourself, and so you deserve the treatment.
That's such a harsh way.
I was brought up in Scientology. This is the way I was taught to think, that anything that happens to you because you deserved it, or you brought it onto yourself. And that's the way they deal with everything across the board. If you're molested, if you're raped, if you get into a car accident, if you lose your family, the doctrine states that you're responsible for those things happening to you.
Have you lost friends leaving Scientology?
I lost all my Scientology friends.
All of them?
They cannot talk to you. They believe that they cannot talk to you.
And how many years have you been friends
35 years. I have pictures. I'm my goddaughter. I can't speak to my goddaughter. Her mother won't let me see my own and your first reaction is to reach, and then you're like, your heart skips a beat. So it's very, this is heartbreaking.
You're very understanding, though. Like, you're not upset. You're just like, because you've been there. So you
I can walk up to her.
Right.
I can walk up to her and say, hey, dummy.
Right.
you were one of my closest friends. That's my
Right.
goddaughter. Are you sick
Yeah.
and twisted? And what you're saying is true. Because I know the policy, I will not put her in a position where she's got to say, I can't talk to you. Do you know what I'm saying? I can't do it. I won't do it.
Oh, you're such a good
Like the
person.
first season of the show, they wanted us to walk up to people. And I was like, I will never do that. Like, why would I do that? I'm saying they, meaning the production company,
Right.
wanted us to, not A&E.
Right.
The producers were like, oh, let's talk about the religious beliefs. I was like, no, don't want to attack people's religious beliefs. I want to attack the abusive policies. And they wanted to make fun of the Xenu story, which is part of the doctrine when you get to the upper confidential levels. And they wanted me to talk about Tom Cruise and make fun of him. And I was like, I'm not doing that. I want to tell the stories of the people who have been hurt and lives have been destroyed because of Scientology.
Do you think it's fear that causes a lot of members not to leave?
I think it's fear of being wrong. I think it's fear of thinking I spent upwards of $300,000 in Scientology. Scientology is a business straight up. And people maybe still don't understand that there's a price list for Scientology. And you have to prepay for those things. You can't just walk into a church of Scientology and say, I want counseling, like you could in a normal church, like in a real church, right? They say, well, we can't talk to you until you prepay for these things. And not only do I have to prepay, but that money is on account. So if I leave Scientology before I do those services, guess what? They get to keep your money.
Stop it. Leah, stop it.
Hello?
You're not keeping my money.
Yes. And guess who you have to thank for that? The IRS.
Because they are tax exempt. They get tax.
And let's be clear about that. Is all these years I was thinking we need to go after them being seen as a church. Right. But now I've learned that they can believe whatever they want, which is what I've been saying. Like if you want to believe in this cup and hump it all day, all night, and that's your religion, then that's what you should do. But you shouldn't have tax exempt status because of your beliefs. The reason why organizations have tax exempt status is because they're supposed to be providing a service, right? They like real churches, they go out, they feed the homeless, they help it, you know what I'm saying? You could go to them and say, my family, okay, this is not, Scientology does not provide a service to the public. What they provide is a service to themselves and their own agendas.
At what point did you realize you had to get out? Or were you building
It was a series of things. It started like in 2006 when I went to Tom Cruise's wedding and the leader's wife wasn't there. And I'm like, where's the leader's wife?
Yeah, you've been very vocal about that.
And by the way, she's not just a wife, like she's second in command. So she's more second in command than she is his wife. Because like Scientology marriages are not about, like they're not real marriages. Like you don't, I shouldn't say that. They're not traditional marriage.
They're not traditional, right?
Like it's not like I'm paying your rent, you're paying my rent, we're sharing bills. There's no bills. Scientology pays for all that. They put you in a room, like they give you a room. So you're not, and they feed you, they clothe you. So your husband is not doing that. Your wife is not supporting you. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes, I get it now.
And the agenda is to clear the planet, to make everybody Scientologist. So that's what they do all day, all night. You know, sex is not important. Like having a relationship. Sometimes people who are employed by Scientology don't see their spouse for years and years and years. Like they're sent off to missions, secret missions. So it started with me saying, where's Shelly? And then having everybody scatter. When I asked the question, they wanted nothing to do with it because they know.
But it's a valid question.
It isn't in Scientology. You don't have the right to be asking where a senior executive of Scientology is. You don't have the right to ask that.
But she was your friend.
It doesn't matter. There's no friends in Scientology. What it is Scientology agenda. And then if you're a Sea Org member, which is what the employees are called, Sea Org members, you have no rank in their eyes to be asking where a human being is. That's not the way it works in Scientology. I had internal reports written on me, and I was shipped off to Florida, which is the Mecca of Scientology, for interrogation, because I was simply asking where the wife was. So that question remains to be unanswered. Why? Because Scientology doesn't have to answer, because the IRS gave them tax exempt status. They're a church, and the FBI doesn't have any, I mean, nobody's gotten involved. It's just really me and Mike fighting this battle by
It's a
ourselves.
big battle.
It's a huge battle.